Yet another Working Brother Talks. We are continuing with John Bosnitch, all the way from Canada in a secret undisclosed location. He's in a basement which has no AC, and the global warming is getting to him. You can see it on his face. John, welcome back. This is a comedy show for anybody who's just clicked on the second of this set of interviews with Bosnitch. We have a Bosnitch playlist, by the way. You can find it somewhere here. I'll leave a link, possibly. John, welcome back. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Anything you want to start us off with?
Well, I think I've sent you some material, so pick whatever you're interested in, and I'll tell you why I've sent it to you.
Let's see here. Where is that tab? We got the French election. What happened in France's shock election, and what comes next from CNN? Christian Edwards.
All right. So, why? As a journalist, we were always taught that we have to do who, what, when, where, how, and the most important question of all, why?
That reminds me, this is a comedy show. He's a real journalist. I have nothing to do with journalism. This is all comedy. You can continue now.
Okay, so let me tell you that when I ask myself the joke question of why the left, and I'm talking hard left, I'm not talking about soft left, soft socialist. I'm talking about the results in the French elections. How did the hard left win so many votes? Has anybody told you how? Has anybody told you why? I'll tell you, because the French don't like war. Having had their country devastated by Germany twice in 2 world wars, the French generally don't like war. The French are a much more social-oriented society, and they don't like being shipped off to war. The only group in France that is 100% anti-war is the left. The next leading group in opposing the war is the hard right, not the center right, which is Macron's party, which works for America, but the hard right, who sees no national interest for France in fighting Russia. And I think we're going to see, and mark my words, this may be a joke on the French, we're going to see motions moved by the Marxists, which are supported by Le Pen's nationalist right-wingers. And the motions that they're going to be voting on together in cohabitation are going to be to stop French support for the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. They're going to stop French support for the neo-NATO Nazis in Ukraine. And they're going to undermine the American war effort in Ukraine. And that is why US media is so critical of the election in France. And you're not going to find that in print anywhere. I'm going to have to write it myself, and I will.
Well, you heard it here first. It could be a joke, could be real. I don't know. I don't follow these things. Thank you once again to everyone who's a patron. Thank you to the people who buy me coffees. I'm not going to do any more than this as like a little commercial for myself. And then we're going to move into the next topic, which is one that I'm reluctant to cover, but sure, why not? You sent it along, so why not? In Nashville, Tennessee, we got these guys. Patriot Front. Why do you want me to cover this?
Well, because we're coming up to U.S. elections now, and the Democrats are desperate. First of all, their candidate is senile and falling over himself all the time.
Time out. I have a question. Like, seriously speaking, what makes you 100% sure that they're actually going to be elections?
Oh, there'll be elections. Don't worry. There'll be elections. Even in wartime, America holds elections. So even if America is in a state of war, there will be elections there, because the democracy, the so-called democracy of America, is a facade. The American people are shunted down two sluice gates. One is the Republican War Party, and the other one is the Democratic War Party. For the first time in our lifetimes, that's at least since 1960, 61, I was born, we have an anti-war Republican nominee. He is about to be nominated. That's Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wins the nomination of the Republican Party, we're going to see a shift in US politics, because he's going to stop the war in Ukraine immediately, instantaneously. Within 1 week of coming to office, maybe 24 hours of coming to office, he's cutting off all military support. He's cutting off the fuel supply. He's cutting off the weapons supply. He's cutting off the satellites. It's game over. Peace imposed from Washington, instead of the usual, which is war imposed from Washington. If that happens, we're seeing a paradigm shift in America that is the only parallel in history is when the Democratic Party became the party supported by blacks and minorities and women after being the party of slavery. Get that again. The party of slavery was the Democratic Party. The anti-slavery party was Abraham Lincoln's party, which is the Republican Party. Most Americans don't know that. And
most of the world doesn't know that. Yeah. Oh, but I actually had a clue.
Yeah, this is a
only because it's funny. Only because it's funny. That's why I know. It's a good joke.
Abraham Lincoln was not a Democrat, he was a Republican. The people who controlled the slave owner states of the southern United States were members of the Democratic Party. Tell that to an American and he'll argue with you. So we're seeing a paradigm shift here in America where the Republican Party is going back to its roots of being the business party, the work party, the anti-war party, if Donald Trump gets the nomination, which I'm sure he's going to do, and if they don't assassinate him before or shortly after the election. And why would they assassinate? Yeah.
You mentioned peace and peace candidate, and you can't talk about Trump without talking about his European counterpart. Politico says Viktor Orban goes rogue.
Well, wait a minute.
He's going rogue.
Politico is a propaganda outlet for the Democratic Party.
Well, so no Politico, shit, but like...
no, but many of your viewers might not know that, right? We've got viewers...
What do you think of Orban, first of all? Forget Politico, or cover Politico, but get into Orban. Get into Orban and his little world tour.
I'm a big fan of Orban. I think that Orban is the best thing to happen to Serbia in a generation. He's a Hungarian who thinks about Hungarian interests first, not Austro-Hungarian interests, not German interests, and certainly not Americo-NATO interests. Orban puts Hungarians first. We have a large Hungarian ethnic minority in northern Serbia, and they love Orban, and they know that Orban is a man who can work with Serbia if Serbia would pull its head out of the rear end of the Western military-industrial complex and stop any kind of collaboration with America and England. And, we've got the English fingers up to our orifices as deep as they can go ever since the SNS came to power with the support of English intelligence. That's what we're dealing with in Serbia. We need to log on and join up with Orban to liberate Serbia from those who want to drag us into the military-industrial complex.
Honestly, I think that is kind of happening, with the double-headed eagle of Serbia being Dodik and Vučić, and whatever one can't do because he's occupied, the other is doing because he's basically declaring independence. kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in that kind of like geopolitical game, there is this duality, especially when you're talking about like Orban, because like the Serbs, I mean, in Republika Srpska, they're literally exporting armored vehicles to Orban. It's like you can't get more cooperative than that. You know what I mean?
And not only that, as far as I can remember, they're exporting an armored personnel carrier called Despot.
Yeah.
If you're going to name an armored personnel carrier or anything, you may as well name it Despot.
Yes.
So I think that we're going to see Orban slowly disengaging Hungary from the NATO war machine. I think that we're going to see within the next few years. I trust that Orban will stay in power. I think that the George Soros
they have no hope about him. If you want some comedic gold, go look up Orban comments on Soros. Also, you sent this along, and I have to interrupt you because we're still keeping a tempo. We still have we've got a lot of things to cover. Zelensky blasts India's Modi for embracing bloody criminal Putin. Brought to you by The Hill.
Well, The Hill is another U.S. military industrial complex. You know,
no.
How can people publish this stuff and expect normal, intelligent people to believe it? Got to.
What do you mean people publish? These are not people. They're journalists.
You know those. Okay. Touche. You know that hammer that your mom has in the kitchen that's got a wooden side on one side and a metal side on the other for softening up meat?
Yeah, it's good you said softening up because I was going to say something else and that would have gotten vulgar. Anyway, for softening up your steak.
Pounding the meat. So, we may make a comedy show out of this after all. So
I'm telling you, it's comedy. Some of my subscribers who bother to actually comment say that this is the best kept secret on YouTube. So if that is your opinion, share this because the algorithm definitely won't. Anyway, continue, John. I'm sorry.
The pounding of the meat on the Hungarian head by NATO and the Germans finally over. Orban has liberated Hungary from the German overlords who took Hungary over centuries ago when Austria assumed control of Hungary as a partner to cut the Slavs in two. As you know, there was a wave of Slavic a front line of Slavs. Well, of course, Yugoslavia was the front line on the south. And the Zorban, or the Sorbs, which is where my mother's family came from, they're the Slavs on the north, along with the Poles and the Czechs and the others. But the front line of the Slavs were the Serbs on the north and the Serbs on the south. Well, the Serbs on the south, we survived somehow, despite multiple genocides. In the north, look at it this way. We Serbs were split into two groups. The South Serbs, who are survivors in former Yugoslavia, Bosnia, well, we've been ethnically cleansed and wiped out of Croatia. Catholic Ustasha Croatia, we're gone. But we still are the majority, of course, of the population of Montenegro. In fact, we're almost all of the population of Montenegro, except for the self-hating Serbs who say they're not Serbs. But we're the majority of Bosnia because there's the Christian Serbs, and there's the Muslim Serbs, and there's the Catholic Serbs who think that they're Croats.
So basically, if anybody from the Balkans who's not a Serb watches this, you just trigger all of them. Have fun in the comments, guys.
Well, somebody's got to trigger somebody. Otherwise, the guns don't work, and we'll be failing to live up to our reputation by just telling jokes instead of shooting people. I prefer to tell jokes because if you tell jokes about our opponents and those who hate themselves, maybe one day they'll wake up laughing and decide to be what they really are. But that's okay. Chill. Fine by me. Jokes on them.
Since we last spoke, we've been declared genocidal. So, like, all this is in the context with
we've been declared genocidal many times over. Just let me take this call for a second.
All right, let me
Hey,
mute
Roy,
him.
I'm just in a TV interview now, and I'm going to get this.
Nope, this is mute. Wrong mute. So yeah. Thank you to everyone who is a subscriber, all of you patrons out there, the silent ones in the background, all 3, 4, 5 of you. Thank you, and to everyone who's bought a coffee. John is back. Let's see what we've got here. John, welcome back.
So, so America is upset that Putin is friends with China. They're really angry about that. They're also furious that Putin and Russia is friends with India. They're furious that Russia is friends with Iran and that Iran is friends with China. They're outrageously angry that Saudi Arabia has made peace with Iran and that the big split between Shia and Sunni is being solved by the good offices of Vladimir Putin. Basically, America is unhappy anytime the potential for war is being reduced. Why? Because America makes its money by killing people. They make money for blood. That's what they do. When they can't pump oil, they pump blood. And now, most of the world knows that. The people in the ecosphere, in the NATO war ecosphere, which is Canada, America, England, and a few English colonies like Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, occupied English colonies, they haven't all gotten out of the ecosphere yet, but there are more and more who are, and we'll liberate them in due course. We Serbs are a liberational nation, and I'm looking forward to our peace missions that we send up to the British Isles to liberate our fellow Celts, because we Serbs are a mix of Slavs and Celts. I look forward to a peacekeeping mission of Serbs to help liberate our fellow Celtic nations of the British Isles, because remember, the British Isles are 4 Celtic nations. Here they are.
These are all potentials for jokes and movies. This has nothing to do with a call to action. This is not a call to action. Because people need to make their own movies in their own lives and their own revolutions. And realistically, the Serbian diaspora is so spread out that, like, you know, we don't even have to go anywhere. We're already there, probably.
But you know have you seen it's a classic comedy routine called The Four Yorkshiremen. You ever seen that?
No.
You're kidding me. Wait a minute.
Don't send it now. No, don't send it now. Okay. We don't have time to.
Out there, okay, everybody out there, go and look up The Four Yorkshiremen. Okay, then you're going to see English comedy at its best.
But we were on topic. We were on topic with America being sour about losing control, and we got questions arise as China constructs thousands of schools in Iraq. This was sent in by John. Voice of America, let's have a listen. This is new. I haven't heard it.
Is upset.
In Mosul,
Voice of America is upset.
Hold on.
An example of what happens when war comes to town. Here, a few reminders hint at a once bustling school that has served generations of students in this northern Iraqi city.
I used to have fond memories of my school, but unfortunately it was destroyed during the conflict in Mosul.
Iraq's war to oust the Islamic State devastated the country's infrastructure, including schools. The government estimates 12,000 new schools are needed nationwide. It recently signed contracts with 2 Chinese firms to build 8,000 of them. The project is expected to take up to 8 years, with the initial phase constructing 1,000 schools now underway. This is welcome news for students like Abdullah, who complains of overcrowded classrooms.
The Chinese are building schools?
I know.
Those communists?
A threat to civilization. So
that they want to help people?
How dare they? Americans bombed the living daylights out of Iraq. Americans financed the Islamic State. Americans used the Islamic State as a fake threat to involve themselves further in the region. And now, once the people of Iraq have driven out the American Front Organization, somebody has to rebuild. Somebody has to rebuild what America destroyed. Who's doing that? China. Why is China doing that? Well, first of all, China has a partnership-based system. Win-win. You win, we win. Not the colonial Anglo-American style, which is we win, you lose, and shut up or we'll kill you. That's the joke on them, American, Anglo-American style. China is coming in and saying, we want to work with you. We need your resources because we're the economic production powerhouse of the earth. We don't want to just extract your resources the way Anglo-Americans did for years, leaving you poor, leaving Africa poor, leaving Asia poor, leaving Middle East poor. We want to make you rich and let you educate your people your way, whatever your culture is. We'll build the schools, we'll build the swimming pools, we'll build the hospitals, we'll build the social infrastructure, and we, with you, will extract your resources for our mutual benefit. That's an unbeatable scenario for China. And the laugh, since this is a comedy show, the laugh is on America. The laugh is on the USA. And I'm enjoying that laugh, and I'm sure your viewers would too, because it's high time we had a good laugh at the expense of the USA, because they've been making it hard to laugh ever since World War II. That's the basic story here. Bring back comedy to what it was before Anglo-America started bombing the whole planet. That's the laugh that we need.
Comedy before Disney. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. 1 second, I'm just going to bump off a call here.
Oh, damn. You've been busy. John is very busy with his calls. Obviously making good use of his time in Canada. Shall we look at this clip while John is on the call? He sent this
just
earlier.
On Joe Biden, he spoke at the NATO summit overnight. He started off with some strong words on the Ukraine war.
And we know Putin won't stop at Ukraine. But make no mistake, Ukraine can and will stop Putin.
But then, true to form, he started stumbling.
John, you're back. Your mic is live. You can.
I don't know
drop
what he said there.
time.
And then
I don't know what he said there. Hold on. Let's do this, and let's playback speed. Let's put it down to quarter speed. Let's see what he said.
For 5 additional strategic air defense systems.
That's not quarter speed. That's full speed. You got to speed him up so we can understand him.
What he said there. And then as he started
walking... John, do you want to share with the audience why you said this to a comedy show?
One of my favorite books when I was studying political science was The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
You studied political science?
Oh, yeah. There's a joke there, too. Poli-sci is one of the best jokes ever. But science and politics, there's a joke in itself. But I'm seeing the decline and fall of the Anglo-American Empire. And you can match it chapter by chapter with the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. What we've got now with Biden is the closest thing I've ever seen to Caligula. This is complete collapse, complete loss of faith, and a loss by the citizens of the empire of faith in themselves and in their system. Trump may be able to restore it for a little while, but Trump's main function will be to dismantle the war machine and rebuild America as a productive, constructive country once again. Take down the empire and turn it back to a republic.
What you're saying is we're entering a multipolar world, and if Trump gets in, his goal should be to make America a regional power as opposed to the global hegemon it was trying to be and failed. And save it from, splitting up and collapse.
Exactly.
And on that topic, one of the videos that you sent is this dialogue works. And the guest is Dmitry Orlov. This is a random point in the video that I skipped to. Let's see what they have to say.
No Turkish leader can ignore that fact. And also, Turkey has done extremely well because of the Western sanctions. It has provided Russia with...
Turkey, the eternal backstabber. I think somebody else sent me this video. I don't know who this Orlov guy is, but he has...
I sent you that.
No. I mean,
That-
somebody else before that sent me before you sent it along. Somebody else sent it to me, but I don't. I didn't have the patience to listen to this Orlov guy. And in the first bit, it didn't sound like he had anything new to say. Do you want to like clue me in?
No. I'm just saying that Orlov is giving a list of the ways in which the Anglo-American Empire is cutting their own network of supply, their own resource network, their own military clientele, which actually feeds their empire. And Orlov gives examples. It's worth listening to. I think you should put it in your links there so that our fellow humor loving viewers can watch the jokes on America and the jokes on England as the boat goes down with the crew. Okay, so give them a link, let them watch it.
I'll leave all the links that John sent in the descriptions of these two videos. John, considering you've been getting a lot of phone calls, how much time have you got? You also sent this. I'm not sure why. You sent me a Facebook link.
Okay. So how do we end the war-based craziness on this planet? Hydrogen.
So is Mazda paying you? Is Mazda or Toyota paying you?
No. I think I mentioned before, I've got a group of really talented genius engineers in Serbia. There are about 15 of them, and we're working on some products and some cutting-edge technologies for the extraction of hydrogen from water. The use of hydrogen ends the petroleum-driven world. It's a fuel that has no pollution. The only byproducts are water. There's a limitless supply of this fuel, the oceans. And it's the end of war, because war has been primarily directed towards the theft of resources, colonialism, slavery, territorial acquisitions, the establishment of military empires. All of that was related to resources. And now we have the potential to have a free access to energy, free. And when energy is free, then people can focus on other things: creativity, the arts, invention of new technologies, colonizing space, building a new planet on Mars, and so on. This
is comedy gold. Comedy gold. I'm telling you, the Japanese are paying you. Or if not, they should be. Let's move on to Tim Cook talks Apple Vision Pro as spatial computing goes down under.
Wait a minute. One last word about that jet. That jet that you saw in that linked story, that jet can fly across America and probably from the west coast of America over to Europe, for $500 in fuel.
Theoretically.
500. That jet flies. That jet exists. That's not a fake jet. That exists.
We'll discuss it maybe in a future video.
You're going to see the end of the Boeing Corporation unless they change over to hydrogen. You're going to see the end of commercial airlines as they exist now. You're going to see a complete changeover of the economy. Coming up to a theater near you.
Tim Cook talks Apple Vision Pro as spatial computing goes down under. Tell us what you want us to talk about.
I've given you this article, and I think people should watch the video. This is linked to a topic mentioned among the other links I've given you, Apple Intelligence. And Apple Intelligence is linked to AI, artificial intelligence. There's an arms race in AI going on now. The West is currently leading it, but they won't be for long. Artificial intelligence in the West is military industrial based. Artificial intelligence in the East is society based. We're going to see
artificial
intelligence.
I had to light a cigarette. I had to light a cigarette considering we're getting into this topic. Artificial
that-
intelligence being led by the West.
Wait a minute,
No, it's a cigarette. No, it's a cigarette, John. It's a cigarette. I'm not in Canada. You're in Canada. We'll get to that
I'm in
topic as
Canada.
well. We'll
I'm
get to
in
that
the-
topic as well. Hold on. We're doing a military intelligence now. Military artificial intelligence, and that's what you were getting at. And listen, my comment before you get into it is it's funny you should say that because this is a comedy show, and I follow Defense Politics Asia, who used to be a friend of the show, and then he became a little Zionist, so he's not a friend of the show anymore. But the point is, Defense Politics Asia, in some of his past videos, refers to some of the tactics of the Ukrainians as if it's fucking AI, which is just sending meaningless troops to get slaughtered. You know what I mean? And now you're telling me that the West is leading AI defense intelligence, stuff.
Well,
so all I'm trying to say is maybe you're absolutely right. Continue.
AI started in the West as part of the outgrowth of the information technology IT revolution. And naturally, almost everything that's developed in the West starts out as military industrial based. Now, with Apple Vision's the Apple Visor, average citizens can design, interact, and create AI environments for purposes other than military uses. This is going to lead to an explosion of non-military industrial AI. When there's an explosion of non-military industrial AI, we're going to see a reorientation of the priorities of society. Because rather than killing each other, but there's no reason to kill each other because we're going to be using hydrogen. There's no need to steal anything anymore. You have all the energy you need. With all the energy you need, you can build all the houses you need. You can make all the food you need.
Kumbaya,
you can do whatever
man.
you want.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. Then you have this thing to use for reasons other than killing. What is our aim? Our aim is to be happy and to do it in a good way, serving goals which we share. Not just that you and I share, but that everybody shares. Africans, Asians, South Americans, North Americans, Europeans, goals that we all share. For us all to share a goal, it has to be a universal human goal. That means life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is what America once claimed to be. So we're looking at the superpower, the so-called superpower, because it's in descent now. And we're letting the people of America decide whether they want to be happy or whether they want to be unhappy. If they want to be unhappy, they can vote for Biden, the senile warmonger. If they want to be happy, they can vote for Donald Trump, the man who they've demonized in every way they can, just like they demonized the evil Serbs, that's us. And we're still laughing, and we're still dancing, and we're still happy, and we're still independent.
We're dancing, but not like dancing on rooftops.
Well, we're dancing. Some people criticize the way that I dance. We
already got into your dancing, and we already have video of you dancing. We have photo of you dancing in another talk. Yeah. We might put a link somewhere. Let's get into this book that you wanted to discuss. A children's comic book in Canada. Who's this guy? Okay.
This is Pierre-Étienne Paradis. His family name means paradise. And
which means tomato in Serbian. Yeah, were his family tomato farmers?
Yeah, well, actually, paradise in Serbian is a reflection of the fact that the tomato in Serbia is so good that you want to just chew it like you would an apple in North America. A Serbian tomato has no equal on this earth. Come to Serbia, True. Try a tomato, you might not leave. Okay, that's all I'll say about that.
I second that. So let's get back into Mr. What did you say his name was?
Pierre-Étienne Paradis.
All right.
How do I know Pierre Etienne? Well, I was in Canada on one of my visits to Canada in 1995 from Japan, where I was living, en route to Serbia, where I was reporting on the violence and the wars, and I passed through Quebec, the occupied French country within the occupier called Canada. I was taking a bus from Eastern Canada to Central Canada, Montreal and Toronto, and we got hit by a snowstorm. And when I say snowstorm, Canadian style, Serbs don't have, unless they've lived in Canada, they have no idea what that means. A Canadian snowstorm produces so much snow that the snow goes over the top of a bus. So we were in a bus that simply got snow blown to the point that we had to be evacuated by going out the roof hatches of the bus and getting on skidoos with the military and the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who drove us into the city of Quebec. It was the nearest city. We were about 20 minutes out of Quebec. The snow covered the bus. The bus was lost. They drove us into the Hotel Frontenac, which is the luxury 5-star hotel in Quebec City. And they said, okay, we expect to plow the highway, the national highway, and get the bus out by noon tomorrow. We're going to work all night. It'll take us 12 to 15 hours to clear the roads and de-snow your bus. You've got the deluxe hotel there. Enjoy, get a good night's sleep. Well, coming from a small town in Canada, it was not going to happen for me to go to a bigger city and go to sleep. I figured there must be a party going on in Montreal or in Quebec City. And if there was one, I was going to find it. I went to the front desk. I said, of the hotel, I said, is there a party? They said, what do you mean? In that snowstorm, there's 2 meters of snow in front of the hotel door. We can barely even open the hotel door. I said, where are the event spaces in Quebec City? They said, well, there's down that way and down that way and down. So I went for a walk. It only took me 20 minutes to find an all-night electro trance night party. Trance music, electronic music party. At that party, I met Pierre-Etienne Paradis. Pierre-Etienne Paradis took me to the party. We went to the party. We danced all night, chased some nice girls there in Quebec who are known as our most beautiful and most feminine, female, women-like women in Canada, and had a wonderful party there. And after that, we went back to the place where Pierre-Etienne and his roommates were. We had a wonderful night, and we consumed the local herbal supplements. And Pierre-Etienne introduced himself to me, and he goes, oh yeah, I'm going to be the candidate for the marijuana party. And he was the candidate in the Canadian election for the marijuana party, which we don't have yet in Serbia, but of course we're going to get one. And then we'll have candidates for the marijuana party in our elections, because that's what it takes to wake up people who don't know what they're talking about. And Pierre-Etienne has produced a book, which he gave me because I ran into him. Okay, it's 2024, 1995. It's basically 30 years ago that I met this guy. And I think you've got a book signing there, a photo of him signing his book for me. The previous photo.
Hold on. Yeah. Let me load it. Hold it. Why?
And I got a signed copy.
There we go. So what is the book? You want to tell us what is the book?
The book is Cannabis in Canada.
And what is it? It's an illustrated history?
An illustrated history of how cannabis became legal in Canada, and the whole history of how it was farmed, how it was used as a herb, as a medical supplement, how it was used for paper, how it was used for clothes, how it was used across North America, how George Washington was a cannabis farmer, how Thomas Jefferson was a cannabis farmer, and how cannabis was farmed across the entire North American colonial territory. And just like
you basically told me this is for kids, right? This is like a children's book.
This is a book for I mean, it's a book for teenagers, basically, about the history of cannabis for people who literally don't know it. Now, I'd like to give a copy of this to our former Minister of Health. I understand she's been unceremoniously dumped. Danica Grujic, the leading enemy of cannabis in Serbia. Ignorance is not strength.
Well, ignorance is not strength. That's a good one.
And I'm going to give this book, I'm going to give a copy of this book to Danica Grujic. I guess she'll first have to learn English or French to be able to read it.
Your camera quality started going down as soon as you started mentioning local politics, and earlier in the other recording, as soon as you started mentioning that aircraft carrier in the Middle East. So we're gonna take a break from some of the serious topics. We'll discuss that when you come. Yeah. We'll discuss that when you come. We'll do an on-site report of you handing that to the former minister when you come. In the meantime,
I have translated into Serbian, which will be good for me. How will John learn Serbian? Well, John does speak some basic broken Serbian now, but when John translates this book for Danica Grujic, then John will learn Serbian the way he needs to. And then Danica Grujic, our Minister of Health, can read a comic book which explains to her why the whole civilized world is one by one legalizing cannabis. And marijuana.
Minister of Economy, too. Minister of Economy and Tourism, for that matter.
Sure.
In any case, let's have a little comedic break. This was sent in by Citizen 1001, one of our favorite meme creators. Meme is still under construction. We've got memes to go. Tell me, John, what else did you send along here?
Let me just look through the other materials that I sent to you. I think I've got some good stuff there.
Wait. I've got something here. I want to get your take on the drone wars that are developing. This is Chinese video. It's a very short video. It's like three seconds. Whoa, we got the volume turned up. Hold on, let me turn down the volume there. And it's self-defense for drones.
Yep.
Like it's a little gun where he's got like a 3-shot thing that fires a net and it takes down an FPV drone that's coming at you. How do you feel about that?
I'm very happy to see that. Of course, Chinese technology, Chinese invention, and already deployed in Ukraine. And the fact is that that's a close range drone eliminator. And the Russians have already developed a pulse radio wave drone eliminator that can eliminate a drone at half a kilometer. So
speaking of Russians and drone wars, the second video, this is a Russian FPV, or actually a Russian drone that intercepts other drones, and it's intercepting a Ukrainian drone now, and I believe it's going to drop like some kind of explosive device, which is going to take out the other drone, which is insane. So we've got drone versus drone mid-air combat. Your comment.
And I mean, if you remember the opening scene of Terminator, okay,
which opening
scene, the first Terminator film, where the robots are fighting and where there are drones flying. We are now there. And the Terminator robot is Chinese, and the Terminator robot is terminating the Anglo-American Empire.
Are you sure it's not Musk?
No. Musk is a very smart guy. And,
hold on, before we get to Musk, because we've got another Musk quote. This is a Russian ground drone. Most of these Russian drones, by the way, are developed by entrepreneurs and individuals. They are then only adopted by the military in small scale. But yeah, this is a ground drone which can, resupply people, or can also pull out, evacuate the wounded. But also it can do stuff like this, which is maybe the same drone, maybe a different drone, but it's over there. You can see it in the corner of the screen, right around here. And it's scooting along, and then it scoots along this little area that's been bombed to smithereens. and then we can fast forward a bit, and it comes here to an enemy encampment slash trench.
Yep.
Approaches a little bit closer, and then goes kablammy.
Yep.
How do you feel about the fact that we've got drones versus drones, drones against people, flying drones, and now AI drones as well?
AI drones is the future. AI drones are going to...
The Russians already have it. The FPV drones that have terminal guidance with AI already exist. When electronic warfare takes out the controller, the AI takes over and it flies towards the target.
Oh, that's the beginning of the AI drones. The next stage of AI drones is coming now, and that's the AI drones that offers methods for the soldiers who are about to be killed to surrender. The AI drone enters into discussions with them. It provides them with maps, charts, how to escape from the battlefield, safe zones, manner to get through the minefields in a safe way to surrender. That's already coming up now. So I can just 1 second. I'll just take a call here.
John sent this picture. John and his calls. At least I got in the hang of muting him so far. John sent this picture. He said he saw it somewhere in Canada. So, yeah, Canada. What can I say? The Canadians will get that. Everybody who's a patron, thank you for being a patron. Everybody who's bought me a coffee, thank you for buying me a coffee. John is really taking his time with this call. Let's see if we've got something else here that we can share. Oh, there he is. John, you're back. How nice of you. How nice of you to rejoin us.
The only thing
you're lucky this is a comedy show and nobody cares.
The only thing missing from that photo is the helmet on the fat guy, because it's not just government, it's the military industrial complex. He's got his bulletproof fat suit, and he needs his Nazi helmet. I mean, the American version of the Nazi helmet, the one they use now.
Fans of nuts. Speaking of fans, people will know I have this little pop-up here that says keep calm and wait for Russians. And one of the subscribers on Telegram sent in, hold on, let me get this, where is it? There we go. Anduin Lothar sent a bunch of these Russian Vchod spokojny I Žid Ruskich. So keep calm and wait for the Russian army. Many variations on the theme. If you want them, screenshot it. I'm sharing it with you here. It's also in the Telegram chat. But I just wanted to get that out because because there is no we here. Like, to be clear, there is no we. It's only me and who's doing everything, and YouTube is not helping, and it's demonetized.
As the Russians arrive, there's going to be peace. Until the Russians arrive and settle the situation, there's going to be war. So the Russians have got to arrive, and the Russians don't have to arrive militarily. They have to arrive with the Indians, with the Chinese, with the Iranians, with the Iraqis, with the Turks, and with everybody else, with the Africans, with the South Americans, with the Venezuelans. And they have to say, the gig is up. It's over. It's all over. You can become peaceful partners, America. Canada, hop along, Cassidy, hop along, Canada. You can join the peaceful world, or you can face a little bit of what you've been given to the rest of the universe here. And if they do, then there won't be a Canada and there won't be a USA at all. So I think we know that it's over. The game is over. The military-industrial complex is done. The war is over. Their aggression is over, and it's just now we have to get rid of Trudeau here, which we will very soon. Trudeau will be gone by next year, and Biden will be gone by next year, and we'll turn a new leaf. And I think we'll all be smiling. And it won't be a joke. It'll be a happy smile because the world will be a different place. That's what all this is about. That's why we're having this conversation. Not just to make fun of the idiots who screwed this world up, but to make fun about their departure because it is a fun event and it's funny and happy. That's the best comedy.
It's absolutely hilarious. This was pointed out by a subscriber, and I shared it everywhere. Barack Obama celebrated the 4th of July and said the 4th of July is about celebrating the big, bold, inclusive experiment of the American democracy, and it's always been an experiment. Our democracy has never been guaranteed, which means it can't be taken for granted. To keep fighting for it, keep improving it, and keep making sure it reflects the bigger angels of our nature instead of the worst, that more than anything is what America is all about. And some comments there about his thing, but
we're a republic, dumbass. That's the best one. We are a republic, dumbass.
But it's not only that, it's the fact that he didn't say angles, he said angels, like he misspelt, like he used the wrong word. Do you think it's actually him, or do you think it's just a press secretary person who just doesn't speak English because, the deliberate dumbing down of America?
Well, as we know, every single word that Obama ever said was produced on a teleprompter, and he just read it. And the writer was the Democratic Party speechwriter, Axelrod, who operated him like a remote control drone. So there's already been drones in American politics. George W. Bush is a blank head operated by his speechwriters. Who was the speechwriter for George W. Bush? David Frum, the son of Barbara Frum, the Jewish Canadian spokesperson for CBC Radio Television Canada, who was that's the speechwriter for George W. Bush, who was fired when he took credit for the expression, the axis of evil, because he wrote it and George just read it, because George can read simple phrases. Obama is another sock puppet, a comedic figure, full of jokes, lots of nice, neat jokes, all written for him by Axelrod, the Jewish American speechwriter for that president. So we've got a meritocracy where the best educated, the multilingual, and the multicultural Jewish Americans and Jewish Canadians have been running and controlling the local undereducated yokels who they put in office for the theater, the humorous theater that they call politics in America. And I think that...
Perfect segue. Elon Musk on voting machines. Why did you send this along?
Well, I sent that because Elon's right. Anything that involves a machine or electronics is easier to steal, to spoof, or to corrupt than paper ballots that somebody has to actually mark with a pencil or a pen, with a pen, I presume. If Elon Musk is saying that, and he's a genius who's all electronic cars, electric cars, if he's saying that, then that's a guarantee that what we're facing now is another stolen election. And they're going to try and steal this one too, from Trump again. But I don't think they're going to get away with it. I think Trump has such an army of observers and monitors at the polls that the exit polls taken of the people coming out of the voting stations are going to be so overwhelmingly pro-Trump that they simply can't steal this one. Even Houdini couldn't steal this election from Donald J. Trump.
I would just hedge my bets. Like, I wouldn't even bet that there's going to be an election.
There'll be an election. Don't worry. And Trump will win. And Biden probably is not going to be the candidate. And then we're gonna have the next 2 months focused just on Kamala, her running mate, versus Trump and his running mate. Now, if I were Trump, I don't know who you think Trump should pick for his running mate. There's one black member of the Senate, a male black member of the Senate, who's I think his name is Scott, Rick Scott, I think. I'm forgotten the name. That would be, typical paint by the numbers or color-based politics. I don't think that that's what America needs now. But there is one candidate out there who I would pick. I don't think she has a chance of getting it, but I would take Tulsi Gabbard. Because Tulsi Gabbard, as a former Democrat who's colored and who's from Hawaii, would be the best.
Did you just say colored? You just said colored.
Yeah, she's colored. She's not black. She's not black, but she's not white.
I don't know. Is mulatto less offensive? I don't know. What's
whatever. I mean, even we so-called white people are not white. We're pink. Okay?
Oh, John.
But she's an identifiable ethnic minority, and she's a woman, and she's an ex-Democrat who boldly left
What's her
that
stance?
party.
What's her stance on the floating on the unsinkable aircraft carrier? If she is pro sinkable aircraft carrier, then she should not be, because considering who his what is it in English? His son-in-law is. He should get somebody from a pro-Palestine camp. In any case,
Tulsi Gabbard is a former U.S. soldier who's seen war herself, female soldier.
So,
and she's against war.
Good for her. War and Israel are not the same, especially in American politics. Can you explain this gap in your resume? That was when I was acquiring the secrets of ancient occult knowledge. The subliminal messenger on Instagram. There are no gaps. We're always working. Brought to you by the Working Brother. John, we've been going for almost an hour, and we've got
let me just see if we've covered everything up here.
I think we have. There's just a couple of memes. Optimists study English. Pessimists study Chinese. The realists learn to use a Kalashnikov. Russian proverb. it could be a fake proverb, but it could be real. You never know. Russians, leave a comment. Is this real?
Look, in a future episode, there are a couple of other topics that we could deal with. We talked about lithium, we talked about Rio Tinto, and so on. I think we've got a good show on that.
Well, we'll get into some Serbian conspiracy theories on another show. Shout out to Rutan, the Serbian pyramid mountain. Have you been there, by the way, John?
Yes, I have.
Recently.
Yes, I have.
I was there recently. It's very interesting.
Some of my close friends have bought property on that mountain. So I think that I'm going to be spending some time down there.
When are you coming back to Serbia? Can you say that officially?
Well, I've got a movie to do. I'm working on a movie. I've got a movie offer, a movie deal from Hollywood about the battle to free Bobby Fischer in 2004, 2005, when he was arrested on a U.S. presidential arrest warrant in Japan. And when I resigned and sued the prime minister and sued the Japanese government, sued the United States, sued the EU, sued the government of George W. Bush and beat them in grand jury in Washington, and liberated Bobby Fischer. So a Hollywood film producer came to me. He's proposed the movie. We're now drafting the outline of the movie. We're going to produce a book, hardcover and softcover. And then after the book gets out there, once we've got the book circulated all around a worldwide network, we're going to produce a movie in Hollywood on the 20th anniversary. That's 2025. The 20th anniversary of the 2005 freeing of Bobby Fischer from U.S. ordered presidential arrest. The first time it ever happened. Somebody arrested on a presidential arrest warrant who was actually arrested by a U.S. ally but the USA didn't get their man. That's going to be an interesting movie, and I think
Definitely
that,
off camera. You told me some other details that you can't say now, so that's definitely going to be something to look forward to. Thank you for sharing that here with us. Is this the first time you're mentioning it publicly? Do we have that exclusive?
It's the first time in any media that I've mentioned that we're going forward on a major Hollywood movie that's going to be distributed worldwide.
There you go. You heard it exclusively here on The Working Brother. Exclusively
And there
for
are
the
lots of
Serbs.
laughs. There are lots of laughs in that movie too, because everything Bobby Fischer was saying in 2004 and 2005 against Israel has now become the mantra of the people who are criticizing Israel's genocide in Gaza. Everything he said, verbatim, and the whole world, that's the lying mainstream media, and the Israel lobby in America were calling him crazy. And now Bobby Fischer, after his death, is going to be recognized as a soothsayer and a predictor of the future.
It's like the apocalypse is happening, and there's an unveiling of all the secret webs of stuff that's going on. And I wanted to say
the material you're going to see in that movie, unparalleled.
We'll definitely keep up to date with that. But one other joke that I wanted to bring up for our especially Serbian audience that you also sent along as an outro to this comedic special with John Bosnitch. David Petraeus, ex-CIA chief, new media mogul in Eastern Europe. This is old news from. Do we have a date on this article?
It's a French media
2017,
observation.
maybe.
This is a French media monitoring company which connects the dots between the CIA, the takeover of Serbian media, the attempted takeover of the Serbian government by the United States and England, and the whole battle with WikiLeaks. All to be covered in the movie as well.
What can I say? John, as always, you have entertained us in ways we could not have even dreamed of.
You know what? Since it is a comedy show, there's an old expression, he who laughs last laughs best. There's going to be lots of laughing next year when the movie comes out. Bobby's going to be laughing. I'm going to be laughing. You're going to laugh. All your viewers are going to laugh. And millions of people around the world are going to laugh when they see what we produce about the real history of what's been going on in Anglo-America.
I'm looking forward to the dramatized, Hollywoodized version. Make sure there's a good car chase. On that bombshell, we're going to call this a talk. Everybody who stuck around to the end, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't expect the algorithm to help me. And remember, this is a one-man, one-working brother show. John, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Pleasure like always.
We'll be recording soon.
More jokes to come.
Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.